Welcome back to Normandy. I'm just having a break while it's hoofing down with rain. In fact, I've had my lunch, so I thought what I would do is I would just talk about my pricing structure, how I price my jobs up until the rain stops. Hopefully it's due to stop in about half an hour or so, but hopefully it won't take that long to do this video. So yeah, the way I price my work up, I use different pricing structures. I use a fixed price on jobs, which tends to be quite a lot of my jobs. All of my all of my one-off jobs are all fixed price jobs. Any commercial jobs will be fixed price jobs. I then have a day rate, and I'll come back to how I work out my day rate. I have a day rate for clients that have got a lot of ongoing work, and it's just maintenance work. It's more than maintenance work. It's a lot of initial work which may take quite a few months to do, and then they still want you to maintain it. So I have a day rate for that. I've got nothing less than a day anywhere except for when the maintenance work kicks in over the summer, over the mowing season, and then I have probably, I think it's about 6 or 7 more clients that come on board, and they are all on a fixed price per visit as well. So that's me really. I do a fixed price per visit. I do a fixed price for the job, and then I have a day rate for customers that have ongoing work. Now, the reason why I don't do an hourly rate and I don't, if somebody rings me up or messages me and they say, what's your hourly rate? That's their question. I just say, sorry, I'm full. Because all they're trying to do is look for the cheapest quote they're going to get. And I'm not interested. I'm not interested in people that just want the cheapest quote, because they ain't interested in what you got to do. All they want to do is get a cheap job. And that's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I've got nothing against it. It's just that I would rather not do any work for somebody that their initial message is to say, what's your hourly rate? You know, I need this doing, what's your hourly rate? You know, I mean, no, I don't do that. I always say, I'll go back and say, thank you for your inquiry. I do work per job. You know, I price my work for the job, and for that, I'd need to see it, you know. Or you can send me your address, and then I'll have a look at it on Google Maps, you know, measure the area, and I'll give you a estimate on that, but I won't give you a full price until I actually come down and have a look. Now, that's what the reason why I do an estimate is. I'll say to them, they may have something in the region of like 3,500–4,000 square meters. So I'll say, look, you know, if you want a cut only on that, it's going to be between X and Y. You know, let's say it's going to be between 250 and 300 euro, or 250 and let's go to 250 and 340 euro. And I say, but I need to have a look at it to give you an accurate quote. I said, so if you're happy with between 250, paying a minimum of 250 and a maximum of 340, then fine, I'll come down and have a look. If not, there's no point in me coming down. So then, you know, I'll go down, have a look, and I'll give them the price. But always in the back of everyone's head, you're going to know how long it's going to take. So your own pricing structure in your head is probably going to be an hourly rate anyway. You know, but you don't tell them that. It depends where they are as well. You know, I mean, I don't charge any extra up to 30 kilometers from where I live. Anything over 30 kilometers, then I start to put a fuel charge on. You know, so that's another thing to take into consideration. But you don't. It's all in with the estimate or the quote that you're going to give them. You don't put it down separately. The other way. What a very popular thing to do in France is, especially when you're brush cutting or clearing brambles or anything like that, it's a price per square meter. So that's what I do mainly, is I have a price per square meter, even if I'm cutting grass large areas, or if I'm clearing any fields, and it'll start from, my prices will start. So if someone says me, what do you charge, for instance, I will say my prices start from 35 cents up to 150 for clearing, per square metre. So they think, Christ, I've got 6,000 square metres here, so it's going to be anywhere between 6,000 times 35 cents, 6,000 times €1.50. So that's the sort of price. And they'll say, well, how much? I said, look, I can't give you a fixed price. I can't tell you what that price is going to be until I look at it. If it's normal brush that grows up out of the grass, wooded brush or something like that, they are going to be down to 35 cents a square metre. But then that's only over 4,000 square metres. If it's less than 4,000 square metres, then the price may be a minimum of 50 cents a square metre. I said, I can't say anything until I actually have a look at the job. And it's sort of getting that through to people that you've got to go and look at the job to give a price. Yeah, so I do the majority of my work when it comes to large areas to mow and large areas to clear. I price it by the square metre, and then I give them a fixed price. So just as an example of that, I had a job a couple of years ago which was 4,000 square metres, and what I did was I knew I was having another job which was 4,000 square metres, and they were very, very similar jobs. So what I did was I quoted the same for both but used different equipment. Just wanted to see how long it took. So with the ride-on, it took 2 days to do the whole lot because it was like 2.5 meters high and it was thick. It's unbelievably thick. And the guy was clearing it the guy who I was clearing it for lived in the house or had owned the house for 17 years, and he said in that time he's never even been over there. So it was at least 17 years worth of brambles that had grown on top of each other, So anyway, one of the jobs took 2 days and the other one took 10 days. So that sort of gave me an idea of how long things would take. So from that, I sort of broke it down into what my daily charge was at the time to do it for 10 days. And I think it was something like 240 euros a day or something like that I was charging at the time. So that whole job was 2,400 euros. And then when you broke that down to square metre, that was 60 cents a square metre, which was about right for the density of the brambles that I was cutting down. And it seemed to be a sort of an average price of what the French charge, the people charge over here for that type of work, anywhere between 40 and 60 euros for that type of work over that amount of land. So when I did initially get the brush cutter, I did think to myself, how am I going to price this, because it's like 10 times faster-ish, depending on the ground. So that was why it was worth doing the experiment and seeing how long it took. So 2 days as opposed to 10 days, and the same price. So 4,000 square meters with the brush cutter over 2 days was 2,400 euros as well. But that's over 2 days. So then you're looking at, you've just earned 1,200 euros a day. But I don't look at it that way. I look at it in a way that if I would have quoted, I quoted 2,500. I quote that on my slowest way of doing a job. So if anything happens to my ride-on, I know that I've got a maximum of 10 days or around 10 days to do the job in. So that's why I use the same pricing structure as if I'm going to do it with the harness. And then if somebody else comes in and helps you, it's still the same price. It's no different. If you've got 10 people on it, it's still the same price. It's no different than if you've got one. It just means that it's going to take you 1 day with 10 people instead of 10 days with one person. And the way I do it, and the way the majority of the French do it as well. So when you're quoting up against the French, your quotes are very, very similar. What I don't like to do is I don't like to undercut people severely. I don't really like to do that, and I don't like to take that work away from them. Even though it's acceptable, more than acceptable, to earn 600 to 700 euros a day with a brush cutter, the ride-on brush cutter, it's more than acceptable. When you start to use machinery like that, you've got to be charging the 70, 80, 90 euros upwards per hour anyway, if you work on it that way. And people that do work by the hour charge 90 to 100 per hour. To hire one of them things, it's going to cost you 300 euros a day here. So if somebody was hiring it over 2 days to do a job, then it's cost them 600, which they've got to pay back, plus the 2,400. They're making 1,800 on that job, so they're still making 900 euros a day. So I could take that into consideration, and I could drop my price down to say 45 cents per square meter. I could do it that way because I've already got the equipment. So there's all these variables to look at, and it really, it's down to if you want to do the job as well, of course. But that's the brush cutting side of it. With the mowing side of it, I do a lot of fields as well, or first cuts and stuff like that. And you've got to be a little bit sort of coy with them, because there's no collecting with the brush cutter. It's basically a field mower at the end of the day, or a slope mower as well, as they're called. So then you've got to think to yourself, well, how much would I want to pay somebody that amount of money for just cutting the grass? And the answer is no, I wouldn't. So you've got to look at it that way. Now that one I've got it says it'll do 9,500 square meters an hour just cutting grass. So that's just under a hectare an hour. Well, that's on full speed. But you're not going to do full speed if you've got long grass. You're not really going to go full speed. And then you're going to need more than one cut as well, because you drive over grass, and that bit of the grass gets flattened and it stays flat, so you can't get it back up to cut it. So you've got to wait for that grass to pop back up again, if you like. So you're going to use double cut as well. So then you're looking at 4,000 square meters per hour. So you really got to think to yourself about how you're going to price that for cutting grass. And it's not difficult for cutting grass. There's no wear. There's hardly any wear on your blades. There's hardly any wear on your machine. It's still going to use the same amount of fuel. In fact, it's probably used less fuel. And you'll do more. So then you've got to sort of think to yourself, well, how much is that going to be? And I try to keep that round about, for a hectare. I try and keep it at round about 300, 350 per hectare, which probably works out to about 3.5 cents a square meter, which isn't bad, for a couple of hours work still. If you are using your brush cutter in a day, if you can go off, do 1 hectare somewhere and then go and do another hectare somewhere else, that's 700 euros you just earned in that day, just from using your brush cutter. But you've got to, when you've got big machines like that, you have to charge more. I don't mean that just goes against what I've just said. What I mean is, on a day or an hourly, if you are on a day or an hourly rate, you have to charge more because you're going to do more. And if someone's got a 21-inch mower, 53 centimeters in an hour, that's you're probably looking at what, if it goes 10 k's an hour. What am I doing? You're looking at what, 2,000 an hour, 2,000 square meters an hour that you could possibly do if you're doing 10 k's an hour and having to keep up. You're actually running behind the machine. So walking pace is 4 miles an hour, isn't it? So that's how you got to work it out. If you can work out time, speed, distance over, you've got your speed and you've got your distance, haven't you? And you've got your speed of your mower. So then, you can work out time, speed, distance, or how long it's going to take you, and then work out a price from there, basically. So if you've got what your mower can do, so you can work out how long it's going to take, and then once you get how long it's going to take, you can divide that by the price charge, and it'll give you a price per square meter. But yeah, so that's what I do. I mean, if I'm doing anything like so hedge trimming, if I'm hedge trimming, again, I work out per linear meter, and anything up to a meter high will have one price, and then from 1 to 2 meters has another price, and then 2 to 3 meters will have another price, and then anything above 3 meters has a price. I'll only go up to 5 meters. Anything over 5 meters I haven't got the equipment for. I'd have to go out and hire some other equipment, and I've got a pair of tripod ladders which are 2.7, so by the time I've stood on the top of them and I'm at full reach, it's about 5 meters. I don't like to do 5 meter hedging, 3.5 to 4 meter is my limit. But what you got to take into consideration as well is the equipment you're using. If you've got long reach hedge trimmers, you may just have the shorter hedge trimmers. If you've got long reach as well, so you're using 2 lots of trimmers, then you've got to start, you've got your ladders, so you're starting to work at height as well. So there's, to get, to work on the top, you've got to work out the thickness of the hedge as well. How far you can reach. So if you've got tripod ladders and you can get just on the inside of the hedge, and how far you can reach over from there, you've got to work out that, because that would determine whether you've got to go around the other side and work on the other side of the hedge. So you can work out your price per meter from there. So what I normally do is that my price per meter, so say for argument's sake 2 to 3 meters, I'll charge €8 a linear meter. That's all 3 sides, the top, and that's getting rid of the waste as well. So, and that complete. If they say to me, it's only 2 sides, then I'll take off a couple of euros per square meter. If they don't want me to get rid of the waste or do anything with the waste, might just leave it. They want to might tidy up. I'll take off another. I maybe might take off another €1 or per meter for that as well. So that's how I do my hedges, and hedges can work out very, very. I don't really charge anything on the type of hedge. It's just the linear meterage for trimming. Now I have a separate price for reduction, and trying to explain that to a customer is a challenge at times as well. To me, I mean, I'd like to hear other people's opinions on this, and if your pricing structure changes as well, leave a comment below about this. But to me, a hedge trim is removing the previous year's growth. That's it. Anything other than that is a reduction. So if somebody wants 1.5 meters or a meter taking off a hedge, that's a hedge reduction. If it has grown less than 1 meter in that day, you can normally see, like on the top of say a laurel or a beech or anything like that, you can see where it gets really thick right on the very top, and then you'll have the new growth above it. That's what they tend to do, that because you're doing heading cuts all the time. It's like a tree with a heading cut, it'll just, so that's what you're doing on top of a hedge all the time. And you can see it from the inside as well. I mean, you can spot new growth. It's much lighter wood, and the leaves are lovely and green as well. And obviously if it's a returning job and you've done it the previous year, or you previously cut it, then you exactly how much to take off. So that's another thing. So with hedges, it's linear meterage, different price if they only want top and one side, because their neighbour might cut the other side, or sometimes their neighbour cuts the top as well. There's all these different variables, but I do it different heights, I have a different charge. and then charging for taking stuff away. If I'm turning over areas, I do a lot of like turning over veggie plots or anything like that. I know how long it's going to take me, so I just, again, I have that price in the back of my head per hour. If it's going to take me a couple of hours, I just give them a fixed price for a couple of hours. When my maintenance work comes on, so like your mow, blow, go, I've already gone in and I've given them a fixed price. Now, obviously your first cuts are going to take longer, and as we get further and further into the season, in the height of the summer, it's probably going to be less. So a job that may take you 2.5 hours on your first cut may only even take you like an hour or something like that when you get into the height of the summer. So you've got all that to take into consideration. So that's why I would rather do a price per visit, especially if someone's clock watching. Then if you said, well, yeah, I'll give you 2 hours every week, but you're only going to do mow, blow and go because there's nothing else to do, you're going to be trying stringing it out. I'll just go and cut around this grass again, I'll just do this again, I'll just do that again. Nah, give it a price per job, and then that stops everything. It stops them saying, well, you've only been here an hour and 3/4, you was here like an hour. They don't say to you, if you do 2.5 hours, they don't say, oh, it's an extra half an hour this week, here's another bloody €25. They don't say that to you. But the minute you start packing up half an hour before they expect you to, oh, you only did an hour and a half this week then, something like that. Yeah, oh, is that a bit less this week then? No, it's not, it's that per visit. Oh yeah, but you did 2 hours last week. Yeah, I did do 2 hours last week. There's not so much to do this week because I did the majority of it last time. So, and I explain all this beforehand anyway. I do explain that, your timing changes and it's a price per visit. It stops all of that. When I first started, so that really is how I price my work up. So I do fixed price for all of my maintenance work. I do price per square meter for any large areas, a price per meter for hedging, and a fixed day rate for customers that I have long term. Now, how do I arrive at the day rate? Initially, you need to work out how much you want to earn in a year, and then do all your calculations to how many days you're going to work. So if you need to earn 30 grand in a year, and you're going to work 48 weeks of the year, then you divide 30 grand by 48, which will give you a weekly rate, what you expected to earn in a week. But then you've got to do it over 5 days as well. So work it all out to how many days, what a day rate would be, depending on how many days work you're going to do. So that rate may come to say 180 euros, pounds, euros, whatever, dollars. So then there's your day rate. That's what you need to earn every single day that you're going to work to get your 30 grand for the year. That is your day rate. When it comes to changing that day rate, so at the end of that year, work out how many days you've worked again and how much you've earned in that year, and then do the division. If you've earned 25 grand for that year, say, you keep your day rate at the same. If you've earned 35 grand for that year and you've worked 200 days in that year, do your division, and that might come out to 200 euros, 200 pound for that day. So there's your new day rate. That's what you want to be charging per day. You can also look at your competitors. I don't like to use that word, competitors, people that are in the same business as you and what they're charging. They might be charging 200, 250, so you need to sort of pitch yourself where you think you fit in. If you want to be the cheapest of the cheap and try and get all the work, go the cheapest of the cheap and try and get all the work. Nothing wrong with that. But you'll probably get to a stage where you want to be earning, you probably might want to earn a little bit more per day and work less. So say if you wanted to earn £1,000 a week, you needed to earn £1,000 a week, and you're working 5 days a week, you're going to be charging 200 euros a day, £200, 200 euros a day. If you did 4 days, that's then 250. So you're going to have to be charging more to earn that same amount of money. So it all depends on how many days you're going to work and what you want to earn at the end of that year. But when you get to the end of that year, look back, work it all out, and if you need to put your rates up to earn the same, put your rates up. If you want to do a day less, put your rates up and do a day less. You might find that people are charging 300 a day around near you, and that's acceptable. Put your rates up to 300 a day, or just below, like 290 a day or something like that. That's it. It's all, you can't, I can't sit here and tell you what to charge. It's your business, and you need to work out for yourself what to charge and what you think's fair, and what you also think other people are going to be willing to pay you. Because people have got it in their head that if you're just starting out, or if you've got a limited amount of equipment, then you should be less. You should be charging less. Well, that's bollocks. I think that's bollocks. You charge what you want to charge. It's up to you. If you want to be the most expensive out there, be the most expensive. If you want to be in the middle, be in the middle. If you want to be the cheapest, be the cheapest. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you do anything different, just drop us a comment below. And I'm always interested if there's ways that I can improve my invoicing system, my pricing system. If you've got any other ways to price work, that might be of interest to me as well, because I'm always looking for the best and most easiest way to do things. So thanks for watching. If you like the content that I'm producing at the moment, give us a like and subscribe and drop a comment below. All helps, as they say. So have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.